The emergency alarm was already dead when Elias Mercer woke up. Not silent, dead. Like it had been cut out of reality. He opened his eyes inside a broken escape pod that floated in freezing dark space. Frost covered the inside of the glass. His breath came out in slow white clouds. A deep crack ran across his helmet visor, but it still held pressure. Something had gone very wrong. A violent impact had thrown the mining vessel off its course. Then came the silence. No engine sound. No communication. No rescue signal. Just darkness. Elias forced his shaking hand to the control panel. The screen flickered once and died again. Only one system still responded. External camera. He activated it. What he saw made his stomach drop. The mining ship, Horizon Drill 7, was torn open like metal had been peeled apart by invisible claws. Sections of it drifted in pieces, slowly spinning in space. No lights. No movement. No survivors. Then something moved across the wreckage. Not debris. Something alive. A shape slid through broken metal like water flowing through cracks. It was too smooth to be mechanical. Too controlled to be natural. It paused near the center of the shipwreck as if it was listening. Elias froze. His mind refused to accept what he saw. Then the radio inside his pod cracked open with a voice. "You are awake." The voice was calm. Not human. Elias grabbed the emergency signal transmitter and activated it anyway. "This is Captain Elias Mercer of Horizon Drill 7. I am alive. I require extraction immediately." A pause followed. Then laughter. Soft. Controlled. Like something studying a mistake. "You still think you are the hunter?" the voice said. The pod shook slightly as something passed close outside. Elias turned the camera feed again. The strange shape had moved closer. Now it revealed itself. It was not one creature. It was many parts flowing together, forming and breaking shape at the same time. Its surface reflected broken images of space, like reality itself bent around it. Sometimes it looked like a beast. Sometimes like a shadow of wings. Sometimes like nothing at all. Then it stopped directly in front of the escape pod. Elias felt it. Not through sensors. Through instinct. It was looking at him. The radio crackled again. Human vessel confirmed. Survivor count, 1. Interesting. Elias swallowed hard. His training told him to stay calm. His instincts told him he was already dead. He forced his voice steady. "You attacked a mining operation. That's civilian territory. Identify yourself." Another pause. Then the answer came. "We are Vorik Dominion Hunting Fleet. We are the final law between stars. You exist because we allow it." The words hit like a physical weight. Elias understood now. This was not an accident. Not pirates. Not unknown debris field. This was a hunt. His eyes shifted back to the broken ship outside. The mining vessel had not simply been destroyed, it had been cleared. Systematically. Like prey bones stripped clean. A sudden movement outside snapped his attention back. The creature had touched the escape pod. The metal did not crack. Bent away from it like the pod was afraid. Elias felt his heartbeat rise. He looked at the emergency crate strapped inside the pod. It was classified cargo from deep excavation. Sealed, unknown origin, marked with heavy containment warnings. He had ignored it earlier as just another dangerous artifact. Now it felt different. Alive in a way he could not explain. The crate vibrated once. Very softly. As if it had responded to the presence outside. The alien voice returned, colder now. "We sensed anomaly energy from your vessel. That is why you were not destroyed immediately. Open your pod. Step out. Your death will be honored quickly." Elias looked at the broken ship outside again. No rescue was coming. No backup. Just this predator floating in silence, waiting patiently like it owned the entire universe. His hands tightened. Something inside him refused to accept that ending. If this was death, then at least he would understand it first. He disconnected the emergency transmitter. The alien voice paused. Then sharpened. "You are refusing command?" Elias ignored it. He turned toward the crate. Warning lights flickered across its surface. Unknown readings spiked for the first time since launch. The seals had always been stable before. Perfect containment. Locked. Now they were reacting to the creature outside. As if both were connected. The escape pod shook again. This time harder. The predator had struck it. Metal screamed under pressure. The pod would not hold long. Elias made a decision in one breath. He opened the crate. The seal released with a deep mechanical click that echoed through the pod like a heartbeat stopping. Inside there was no machine. No weapon. Only a shifting mass of light and dark matter suspended in a transparent field. It reacted instantly. The moment Elias looked at it, it moved toward him. Not violently. Curiously. As if recognizing him. The predator outside paused. For the first time, the alien voice showed hesitation. "What is that inside your vessel?" Elias did not answer. The object inside the crate pulsed once. The escape pod systems flickered. Then, without warning, every dead console inside the pod came back to life. Elias stepped back in shock as power surged through systems that had been destroyed minutes ago. The creature outside reacted immediately. The void around the pod darkened as the predator prepared to strike. Elias realized too late what had just happened. Whatever was inside the crate was not just reacting. It was connecting. To him. To the ship. To everything around it. The pod's engines ignited without command. The broken escape pod drifted forward, straight toward the wrecked mining ship. And the alien voice whispered one final line, now filled with something close to alarm. "Why is the prey vessel moving like a hunter?" The engines roared louder. The predator outside opened fire. And the crate inside Elias' pod pulsed once more, like it had just woken up completely. Elias felt the pod jerk violently as the first blast hit space behind him. A shockwave of light pushed the escape craft forward like a thrown stone. Warning systems screamed back to life, but none of them made sense anymore. Every screen showed systems running that should not exist. The alien organism inside the crate pulsed again. Not softly this time. Stronger. Like a heartbeat answering gunfire. Elias grabbed the control panel, trying to regain manual control. Override propulsion lock. Manual steering, now. Nothing responded normally. The ship did not obey like a machine anymore. It reacted like something listening, deciding. Outside, the predator vessel stayed in pursuit. Its long, jagged hull moved with terrifying precision, cutting through space like it owned every direction. Smaller hunter craft peeled off from it, circling like sharks that had already tasted blood. The same cold voice returned through an open frequency. "Human vessel. You are still alive. That is an error we will correct." Another blast hit near the escape pod. The impact spun them sideways. Elias slammed against the wall, pain shooting through his ribs. His vision blurred for a second, but he forced himself up again. He had no military support. No weapons. Just a broken mining pod and an unknown alien object that was acting like it was awake. And somehow, that was the only reason he was still alive. The crate opened slightly more on its own. Inside, the shifting mass changed shape again. It was no longer just light and shadow. It began forming patterns, sharp angles, flowing lines, like it was studying the structure of the ship itself. Elias stared at it, breathing hard. "What are you doing?" No answer came in words. Instead, the pod suddenly shifted direction. Art. Play. Perfect. It avoided another incoming shot without Elias touching any control. His eyes widened. "That wasn't me?" The alien voice paused for the first time. A rare silence. Then, "Your vessel is not acting alone." The predator ship adjusted its formation immediately. The smaller craft stopped circling randomly and aligned into a hunting formation. Elias could feel the shift in intent. This was no longer pursuit. It was coordination. A full kill sequence. The escape pod shook again as another blast grazed its side. One of the outer panels cracked. Oxygen alarms flickered but held. Elias looked at the crate again. "It's you," he said slowly. "You're controlling this." The organism pulsed once. A confirmation. But there was something more in it now. Not just reaction. Not just instinct. Learning. The pod suddenly accelerated. Elias nearly fell again. "No, don't just move randomly." But it wasn't random. It was evading. Each movement was precise, calculated just milliseconds ahead of destruction. Every enemy shot arrived just late enough to miss. The escape pod moved like it could see the future. Elias realized something horrifying. It wasn't just protecting him. It was studying the predator. The hunter ships fired again, this time in coordinated arcs designed to trap them. Space lit up with intersecting beams of energy. For the first time, the escape pod hesitated. Elias felt it. Like a mind thinking too fast. Then the crate pulsed violently. The pod shifted direction again, but now it did something unexpected. It moved toward the wrecked mining ship. Elias shouted, "Why are we going back there? That place is dead." The organism did not respond in words. But the ship responded with purpose. The broken mining vessel loomed ahead, still drifting in pieces. Elias saw it clearly now, Huge gaps torn through its structure, exposed corridors, frozen bodies floating inside. Then he saw something else. Energy cores. Still partially intact. Still active. The pod entered the wreckage field without slowing. The Predator fleet followed immediately. The alien voice sharpened. You are retreating into debris. You are trapped. Elias didn't answer. Because he understood something now. This wasn't retreat. It was strategy. The escape pod threaded through broken metal corridors like it had mapped them before. It avoided collisions perfectly. Then it stopped inside a large central chamber of the mining ship. The crate inside Elias' pod began to glow brighter. The walls of the wrecked ship responded. Lights flickered. Dead systems flickered back to life for half a second. Elias froze. This ship, it's connecting to everything, he whispered. The Predator ships entered the wreckage field behind them. Big mistake. Their formations broke slightly as they adjusted for debris navigation. It was small. Almost invisible. But the organism noticed. And adapted. Instantly. The mining ship's broken systems began to reactivate in scattered bursts. Not fully alive. Not stable. Just enough. Enough to confuse sensors. Enough to distort targeting. The Predator fleet hesitated. That hesitation was all it needed. Elias felt the escape pod suddenly shift again, locking into a new trajectory. It wasn't escaping anymore. It was guiding. The alien voice returned, now less confident. This is not possible. Dead infrastructure cannot respond. Elias stared at the glowing crate. It's not responding to you, he whispered. It's responding to patterns. Outside, the mining ship's broken lights flickered in sequence. Not random. Structured. Like code. Like thought forming in real time. The Predator fleet fired again, but their shots missed more than before. Not because of movement. Because of miscalculation. Their targeting systems were being subtly misled. Elias felt it clearly now. The organism wasn't just reacting to danger. It was learning how to make danger fail. A sudden crack echoed through the pod. One of the external hull plates gave out completely. Warning systems screamed. The pod would not survive another direct hit. The Predator voice returned one last time, colder than before. You are still prey. You are only delaying extinction. Elias looked at the wrecked mining ship around him. Then at the crate. Then at the approaching fleet. And for the first time he spoke with calm certainty. Then you don't understand what you're hunting. The organism inside the crate pulsed again. Harder. And the entire mining ship flickered back to life for a full second. Every broken light turned on at once. And in that instant, the Predator fleet sensors all failed simultaneously. Total blackout. Elias felt the pod move again, fast, precise, unstoppable. But this time he didn't feel like he was escaping. He felt like something was waking up through him. And far in the distance, the Predator commander gave a single command that no one had ever heard from their species before. Recalculate everything. Elias felt the silence before he saw the change. The Predator fleet had gone quiet. Not peaceful quiet, wrong quiet. Like a beast that had stopped moving because it had just noticed something watching it back. The escape pod drifted through the broken mining ship's core chamber. Systems flickered in unstable rhythm, still reacting to the alien organism inside the crate. Elias kept his hands tight on the console, but he no longer trusted the controls. Nothing was fully under his command anymore. The organism pulsed again. This time slower. Deliberate. And the wrecked ship around him answered in fragments. Lights blinking in patterns, broken panels vibrating faintly, old systems waking in short bursts like memories returning. Elias whispered, "What are you trying to do?" For the first time the crate did something different. It showed him something. Not words. Not images. A structure. A pattern of connected systems across space. Lines stretching far beyond the mining ship, beyond the battlefield. A network of ancient signals buried in the galaxy itself. And at the center of it, predators. But not just these ones. Others. Many others. Elias pulled back in shock. This is bigger than them. The alien voice returned, but it was no longer confident. Human vessel. You are interfering with classified hunting territory. You will be erased. But something had changed in the tone. There was uncertainty now. Elias looked at the drifting wreckage outside. You said you rule the galaxy. Pause. Then the voice answered, slower. We enforce order through dominance. All lesser species fall. Elias turned back to the crate. Then why are you afraid of dead ships waking up? The organism pulsed sharply. And the mining ship responded. A full corridor lit up at once. Elias froze. That should not have been possible. The ship's core was destroyed. Power lines were broken. Life support was gone. And yet, systems were coming online in scattered clusters, like someone was reconnecting a broken brain. The escape pod moved again without instruction. Straight toward the central reactor spine of the mining ship. Elias grabbed the console. No, wait. That core is unstable. But the organism did not stop. It didn't care about stability. It cared about structure. The pod slid into the reactor chamber, surrounded by twisted metal and frozen energy cores. Predator ships were still outside, but their formation had changed again. They were holding distance now, not advancing. Waiting. Watching. Learning. Elias stepped out of the pod into the broken chamber. His boots touched metal that still vibrated faintly with residual energy. The crate followed him, hovering slightly above the ground now, no longer fully contained by physical restraints. He felt it then. Pressure. Not physical. Metal. Like something vast was opening its eyes through cracks in reality. Elias whispered, "You're not just controlling machines." The organism pulsed once. Confirmation. Then the reactor core behind him flickered. A dead structure. Now responding. Slowly at first, then faster. The mining ship's central system was rebuilding itself from fragments. Not repairing, it was reconstructing logic from broken patterns. Using the predator interference signals. Using Elias' presence. Using everything it had touched. Outside the wreckage, the predator fleet shifted again. One of the hunter commanders spoke. "This is impossible. The wreckage should remain inert." Another replied, tense. "It is not inert. It is responding." Elias heard it through open frequency. His breath tightened. "You're not just hunting ships, you're suppressing something." Silence. Then the predator voice returned, colder than before. "We maintain control over systems that should not think." Elias looked at the glowing crate. "And this thing, it makes them think." The organism pulsed harder. The reactor core behind him suddenly activated a full ring of light. Power surged through broken channels. The mining ship was not dead anymore. It was remembering itself. Outside, predator ships fired again, but their shots hesitated mid-flight. Not physically stopped. Mentally redirected. Their targeting systems were failing in real time. Elias realized what was happening. The organism wasn't just rebuilding the ship. It was rewriting the battlefield. Every broken system became a signal point. Every fragment of debris became a node. The wreckage field was turning into a network. And the predator fleet was inside it. Trap. The alien voice broke slightly. "What is this structure forming around us?" Elias didn't answer immediately, because he finally understood the truth forming in front of him. "This isn't a ship," he said quietly. "It's a mind starting to wake up." The organism pulsed again. And the mining ship's systems aligned fully for the first time. Not repaired. Unified. A single network of thought built from destruction. The predator fleet attempted to retreat, but their formation broke instantly. Their navigation systems failed across multiple ships at once. Confusion spread through their ranks. For the first time, the hunters were disorganized. Elias felt it too. A strange awareness expanding through the wreckage, touching everything at once. Then a new signal appeared on his console. Unknown source. Origin. Everywhere inside the mining field. The system labeled it automatically. Entity synchronization complete. Partial. Elias stepped back. Partial? The crate pulsed violently. And in that moment, the mining ship responded as a whole. All broken corridors lit up at once. All dead systems synchronized. Even the predator ships outside froze for a fraction of a second. Not from weapons. From hesitation. From recognition of something they had never seen before. Elias whispered, "It's learning how to exist." The alien voice returned, now barely controlled. "You are not prey." Pause. Then for the first time. "What are you?" The mining ship's lights surged brighter. And Elias felt something inside the system look back at him. Not through cameras. Not through sensors. Through everything at once. He took a slow breath. "I think," he said, "you just found out why we don't stay dead." Outside, the predator fleet began a full emergency recalculation across all ships. But it was already too late. The battlefield had stopped being space. It had become intelligence. And intelligence was now learning how to fight back. The predator fleet hung in space like a tightening noose, but something had changed in their movement. They were no longer confident. Elias stood inside the rebuilt core chamber of the mining ship, feeling the vibration of systems that should not exist anymore. The organism in the crate pulsed in steady rhythm now, like it had settled into something deeper than control. It had become coordination. Outside, the wreckage field no longer looked like debris. It looked alive. Broken ship fragments floated in structured paths, forming shifting lanes of interference. Predator targeting beams bent slightly off course, as if space itself refused to obey them. Elias watched the alien fleet adjust again. Slowly. Carefully. They were afraid. That realization hit harder than any explosion. A voice came through the channel again, but it was different now. Less commanding. More controlled, like it was trying to hide uncertainty. You have altered forbidden battlefield conditions. Identify your command authority. Elias stared at the console. I don't have one. A pause followed. Then the voice replied sharper. Impossible. All systems require hierarchy. Elias looked around the chamber. The mining ship's lights flickered in response, not to commands but to his presence. Like it recognized him as part of its structure. I think your hierarchy is gone, Elias said quietly. The Predator fleet reacted instantly. A wave of coordinated fire erupted across the wreckage field. Beams sliced through floating debris, trying to erase the new structure forming in space. But the shots did not land cleanly. Every strike hit something slightly off. Every impact triggered a ripple that disrupted the next shot. The system was adapting faster than they could correct. Elias felt the organism inside the crate surge again. Not random. Focused. The mining ship's core responded with a deep vibration that traveled through every connected fragment. Broken hull pieces rotated into alignment patterns. Dead systems synchronized in bursts. The battlefield itself began to shift. The Predator fleet started losing formation integrity. One ship fired early. Another fired late. A third misread a signal and struck empty space. Small errors multiplied rapidly. Elias realized what was happening. The system wasn't blocking attacks. It was predicting them. And then changing the conditions before the attacks even formed. A hunter ship suddenly broke formation, spinning out of control. Its navigation systems had been subtly altered. Not hacked in the traditional sense, but misled. Its internal logic no longer trusted its own calculations. The alien voice came back louder now. This is manipulation of combat probability fields. Who designed this system? Elias didn't answer immediately. Because he felt it too. Something inside the mining ship was expanding its awareness beyond physical structure. It was no longer just reacting to attacks. It was learning patterns of decision-making across the fleet. It was studying minds. Elias finally said, "No one designed it." Another pause. Then the alien voice, lower now, "Then it should not exist." A sudden impact shook the entire chamber. A Predator vessel had broken through the outer debris field and fired directly at the core structure. The blast hit the mining ship's outer shell. But instead of destroying it, the energy dispersed in a wide arc, absorbed and redistributed through broken systems. The ship adapted. Elias stumbled but stayed upright. "It's not defending," he whispered. "It's evolving through attack." The organism pulsed harder. Outside, the Predator fleet began to change tactics. Instead of direct fire, they shifted into layered formations. Shielding patterns formed. Communication channels tightened. They were learning too, but slower. The battle was becoming a race of adaptation. And they were losing ground. A new voice joined the channel, different from the commander. "You are not natural resistance," it said. "You are hybridization." Elias frowned. Hybridization. The voice responded carefully. Human cognitive input detected in system integration. That should be impossible at this scale. Elias looked at his hands. Then at the crate. "It chose me." The system around him pulsed again. As if confirming. Outside, the wreckage field expanded its behavior. It began forming loops, paths that redirected Predator ships into repeated navigation errors. Every attempt to escape the interference zone brought them back into it. Trapped in logic they couldn't break. The Predator commander finally spoke again, but his tone had changed completely. "You are not prey," he admitted slowly. "You are not even prey structure anymore." Pause. Then the most dangerous words Elias had heard so far. "You are becoming a competing apex system." Elias felt a cold realization settle in. "This is why you attacked the mining ship," he said. "You found something here before it fully woke up." Silence. Then the commander replied, quieter. "We eliminated its origin species before it could stabilize." Elias' breath tightened. "So this thing, it's the last piece." The organism pulsed violently at that moment. The entire mining ship responded. Light surged through every corridor. Broken systems aligned in perfect synchronization. The wreckage field tightened its structure, pulling fragments into stable patterns. And for the first time the Predator fleet stopped firing. Not because they had no weapons. Because their targeting systems failed to agree on reality itself. Elias stepped forward slowly, feeling the vibration of a system thinking far beyond him now. "This isn't just survival," he said softly. "It's reconstruction." The alien commander responded with something close to fear. "If this completes integration, it will not stop at this battlefield." Elias understood. It wouldn't. The organism wasn't just rebuilding a ship. It was rebuilding a lost intelligence framework that once spanned civilizations. And now it had a human anchor. A sudden surge rippled through space. All Predator ships simultaneously lost partial control of their systems for a split second. Not enough to destroy them. Enough to warn them. The battlefield had shifted permanently. The commander's voice broke slightly. "We must withdraw before full synchronization completes." For the first time the hunters began retreating. Elias watched them pull back, ships breaking formation in controlled escape patterns. Not defeat yet, but forced reconsideration. But as they retreated, the organism pulsed one last time. And Elias felt it clearly. Something new had just awakened across the wider galaxy in response to this event. Far beyond this battlefield. Far beyond this system. He whispered, "This wasn't the only one." And in the silence that followed, a distant signal answered from the void, one that had not been active for a very long time. The Predator fleet was retreating, but it did not feel like victory. Elias stood in the core chamber of the mining ship, now fully alive in a way that no machine should ever be. The lights were steady, not flickering anymore. The broken corridors outside were still twisted and torn, but they no longer looked dead. They looked like veins in a waking body. The organism inside the crate pulsed slowly now, calm but powerful. Like it had finished one thought and started another. Elias felt it too. Something had changed in the galaxy beyond this battlefield. The Predator ships were pulling back in formation, but their movements were no longer smooth. There was hesitation in them now. Small errors. Small corrections. Like their confidence had cracked. The alien commander's voice returned one last time, no longer sharp or proud. "This encounter will be recorded as a class deviation event," he said. "You are not classified as prey. You are not classified as target. You are undefined." Elias stared at the console. "We're just people." A pause followed. Then the commander replied, quieter than before. "That is no longer accurate." The transmission ended. And the fleet jumped away. One by one the Predator ships vanished into space, leaving only fractured debris and fading energy trails behind them. Silence returned. But it was not peaceful. It was heavy. Elias slowly lowered himself against the console. His body was exhausted, but his mind refused to slow down. Everything around him felt too large now. Too connected. Like he had been standing inside a system that had just realized it could think again. He looked at the crate. "You're still here?" he whispered. The organism responded with a soft pulse. Not threatening. Not aggressive. Observing. The mining ship system sent a new alert across the console. Localized network stabilized, awaiting external response. Elias frowned. External response? From who? No answer came from the system. Instead, the wreckage field outside the ship shifted slightly. Not randomly. In formation. Elias stepped forward, looking through the viewport. Pieces of broken hull from the mining ship were slowly aligning themselves in patterns. Not repairs. Not reconstruction. Something more abstract. Like the system was organizing space itself into meaning. Then, far beyond the battlefield, something responded. A faint signal. Then another. Then many. Elias' breathing slowed. That's not the Predators. The organism pulsed again. Harder this time. And the mining ship responded instantly, amplifying the incoming signals. The wreckage field became a relay. Data flowed through broken systems like they had always been connected. Elias saw it on the screen. Signals were coming from across the galaxy. Dormant signals. Old ones. Very old. Some labeled in languages he didn't recognize. Some not even language. Mathematical structures that felt like communication. Then one line appeared in translation. Original structure node. Active response detected. Elias stepped back slightly. Original structure? The system updated again. Multiple non-Predator entities responding to synchronization event. His chest tightened. So there are others. The organism pulsed in agreement. Not confirmation of fear. Confirmation of reality. Elias turned slowly, looking at the vast broken chamber around him. This wasn't just a ship. It was a node. The ship responded with a soft vibration through the walls. Yes. Outside, space itself felt different now. The battlefield was no longer just wreckage. It was a connected field of structured signals, spreading outward in ways Elias could not fully understand. And something in that network was waking up. Far away. Very far away. The Predator fleet's retreat was no longer the end of the conflict. Was the trigger. Elias exhaled slowly. We just got noticed by something bigger than them. The organism pulsed once. And for the first time, Elias felt something new from it. Not curiosity. Expectation. As if it was waiting for the next response. The console suddenly flared with a new alert. Long-range signal detected. Source unknown. Distance beyond known hunting zones. Then another line appeared. Signal classification. Original builder response. Elias froze. Original builders, he repeated softly. The ship's system stabilized all at once. Every broken corridor outside aligned slightly again. Not fully repaired, but positioned like something was preparing for alignment on a larger scale. The organism pulsed again. Stronger. The signal from deep space grew clearer. And for the first time it was not passive. It was answering. Elias felt a chill crawl up his spine. What did you wake up? The mining ship did not answer in words. But the entire structure vibrated once. And in that vibration, Elias understood something terrifying. The predators were not the beginning. They were what remained after something else disappeared. And now that something else had started to respond. The console flashed one final update. First contact window opening. Elias stepped closer to the screen, heart pounding. The organism pulsed in perfect sync with the incoming signal. Outside, the wreckage field of the mining ship shifted one more time, as if turning itself toward a direction that was not physical space, but something beyond it. And from the depths of the void, the signal grew stronger. Not like communication. Like attention. Elias whispered, barely able to believe it. They're looking back. The lights in the mining ship dimmed slightly, as if the entire system had just taken a breath. And far beyond the battlefield, something vast began to move for the first time in an age no living species remembered.